Okay. Lord, y'all. Okay, so I have been watching the tapes from last night, watching the tapes. I'm a crazy person. I have been listening to the tapes from last night's Lori Vallow Daybell trial. That would be day 13 of the case. I was watching the live stream of it over on the 13th juror, Brandy Chartwell Charts. You know, we love Brandy Chartwell here at Gossip Rumor and Innuendo. So I'm watching Brandy Chartwell live stream the playback of the tapes. Honey, the first person up on the stand was was Tammy Daybell's sister. She has no time for their mess. Oh, she is from the school of Jeannie Seconder. She was efficient, she knew her stuff, and she was sick of everybody's mess. So she got up there and she was like, yes, me and Tammy were the only girls, family of 5. These LDS families, bless your hearts, they got 100,000 children. Anyway, so she was like, it was just me and Tammy. We were very close. We spoke every single day. Tammy was in excellent health. Excellent health. Nothing wrong with her. She took clogging classes. She took fitness classes. She could run a mile. She could leap tall buildings in a single bound. Tammy apparently was very, very healthy until Chad poisoned her. But we will get to that in a minute. So she was like, they were like, so how'd you find out about Tammy's death? And it was like, Chad called, or Garth called. Garth is Tammy's son. So somebody called and was like, yes, she did. You should come over because we're having a funeral in 3 minutes. They had that funeral right away. In fact, the funeral happened so fast that a lot of the family members weren't even able to get to town. And then a month after Tammy died, the sister finds out that Chad has remarried. Honey, the sister was like, oh, no. What you're not going to do is kill my sister and then just go on off and marry somebody else. So, of course, as good sisters do, she became a citizen detective. Citizen detective, a.k.a. nosy neighbor. She was like, let me just jump on the internet and get all the facts. Here's the thing. Talk about consciousness of guilt. Chad was like, oh, yeah. Oh, you heard I got married a month ago? Oh, yeah. I met a nice lady who's a widow. Her name is Lori Ryan. Interesting how you dropped the Vallow. So citizen detective sister was like, okay, what does Google tell me about this heifer? Because you know she was calling her a heifer in her mind, if not out loud. Because let me tell you something. If my brother-in-law so much as broke a toenail on my sister's foot, I would be like, hello, FBI. She has a suspiciously broken toenail and I'm going to need y'all to investigate because what you're not going to do is mess with my sister. So Tammy's sister jumps on the internet, does all the research, and she finds out, this heifer's name is not Lori Ryan. Her name is Lori Vallow. She's connected to the disappearance of her children, and her husband died of a heart attack. I don't think it's a heart attack. Somebody call the police. And so that is what she did. She jumped on the telephone. Well, first of all, this is so interesting to me. I guess this is a sign of a patriarchal family. She found out the information. Now, if I found out the information, I would just pick up the phone and call 911 or the Rexburg police or whoever I need to call. This lady said, so I took it to my husband. Okay, good for her. I don't know nothing about that life. My husband, bless his heart, the best man around. But what I don't do is run things through him unless we really, really need to, because he's slow. And that's like that's an obstacle. And I'm sure he would be on my side. I'm sure he would be willing to help. But you know what's faster? Me calling the police directly. So she took her to her husband like a good wife does. I guess, I don't know, maybe I'm not a good wife. Anyway, she took it to her husband. They all went to the police and were like, we're going to investigate. And so they were like, did you ever meet Lori? She's like, no, he never introduced me. And through her research, she found out Chad didn't get married a month after her sister died, which she thought was inappropriate. She found out that Chad got married 2 weeks after her sister died. And so she called up Chad. She was like, hey, so you got married. The lady is a widow. Oh, do you have any children? Here's Chad. Oh, no, we're empty nesters. We don't have it. She's like, so you're not going to be raising any young children, because by then she knew things and she had questions. And he was like, no, all her kids are grown, flown the coop. That, we're empty nesters. She was like, okay, thank you. Hello, police. FBI. Hello, officer. I'm going to need you to go and arrest his behind. So her, along with some other family members, were like, he is shady. And so, of course, she got together with some other relatives. She started stirring the pot, as she should. and she contributed to the investigation. Well, by then, the police were already gathering information on their shady behinds. Anyway, and so on they went. Here's Lori's lawyer. So you never met my client? She was like, no. He was like, okay, thank you, and sat down. He might have asked something else, but I wasn't paying that close attention to him, because while I understand that he has a place in this trial and it is his job to get up there and make sure that the law is observed, don't nobody really like him. And listen, at the beginning of this trial, he was like, I know you probably don't like this woman. I know she probably did it. Please don't bomb my house, because in the past, somebody firebombed my house. Please do not bomb my house. I'm doing good works in the community. Now he just stands up, asks his 1 or 2 lame questions, and sits his behind down. Great. Go on and paper the file. Go ahead and do whatever you need to do for the record. We know she's going to be convicted. So next up, they had the lady who did the autopsy, coroner Dye, which that's hilarious. That would be like if my name were Blabbermouth, something like that. Anyway, so the coroner, Mrs. Dye, got up there and she was like, yeah, we got there, and well, first of all, they had like the junior coroner, the assistant coroner, the take your child to work coroner. I don't know. This first coroner has the first assistant coroner, or whatever she was called. She was like, yeah, this is only like my second dead body, and I wasn't really sure. So I just showed up and went, ooh, she looked dead. So she said, here's an interesting thing. The psychic, I'm all about this psychic, Reverend Serafina something, Donna Serafina Donna, I don't know. She says she's a reverend. I don't know how reverend she is. She is accurate and interesting. I don't know if I believe her, but so far, everything she predicted 3 years ago, well, it's all coming out in trial now. The psychic was like, yeah, Tammy was poisoned. Yeah, they said she was suffocated, whatever, she was poisoned. So the junior coroner was like, when I looked at her and saw the foam coming out her mouth, I thought she was poisoned. In fact, I looked up in the what to do when you find a dead body handbook, and I just assumed she had been poisoned. I was like, oh, okay, junior coroner, you know something. So no, not coroner, medical examiner, coroner. I don't know. She wasn't a doctor. She was just a nice lady who could show up and say, yes, you are dead. So the first responder was like, this heifer been poisoned. But everybody else was like, nah, natural causes. And she was like, well, what do I know? I'm new. Okay. So anyway, this is Chad's story. I woke up, she got up in the middle of the night and she threw up, and I helped her get back to bed. Maybe she threw up because she was poisoned, and she was sleeping, and I thought everything was good. Okay. And then she fell out of bed. Here's the questions from the lawyers. Is it usual for a dead body to fall out of bed? I would think no, since dead bodies don't move. Now, here is my mere speculation as to what happened. Chad poisoned a lady before she went to bed, put some nice unflavored whatever in her water, her tea, her coffee. Oh, not tea or coffee, because she's a nice Mormon lady. LDS lady, I keep forgetting you can't say Mormon. Anyway, put something in her ice cream or whatever she had, and then she had the poison and she went to sleep. Well, it made her sick in the middle of the night, and so she threw up. Fine. She goes back to bed, and then the poison takes effect, and she dies. And then Chad was like, okay, so how long does she have to be dead before I can call anybody? So he waited until she was good and dead. Was he laying in bed beside her? Like, ew. Okay, it's not like he's not used to dead bodies, because clearly he was involved with the death of Lori's children. So he's probably real comfortable with dead bodies. Knowing him, he probably cuddled her or something. I don't know. He's a creep. Anyway, according to him, she fell out of bed because her feet got tangled, whatever. I suspect he was like, not sure if she's really dead. Let me push her on the floor and see. And so she flopped out of bed like a flounder. And then he was like, oh, she's dead. Also, she was stiff. So he called the son, I think so he could have a witness. So Garth was sleeping across the hall. Garth was like, oh, mama's dead. And so they came and they put mama back in the bed, and then they covered her up with the sheet. And then he called and they was like, yeah, she's dead, and she's very, very stiff. She's been dead a long, long time. Maybe she was dying and then he suffocated her. I don't know. Merely speculation. Please, nobody sue me, but I'm just saying. I've done research, and by research, you know what I mean? I looked on the internet and made things up. So, she was dead. He was crying on the call like, oh, I can't believe this. This is the happiest day of my life. I'm going to get to marry that trifling woman that I've been messing with on the side. Here's the other thing. When Tammy's sister testified, turns out Tammy was the breadwinner in this family. Now, in this patriarchal culture, how patriarchal is it if you're not making no money and your wife is supporting you and you kill her to find another woman that you think will support you? Oh, now see, what you're not going to do is be the patriarch and tell me what to do, but you're not bringing no bread in this house. And by bread, I mean literal loaves of bread and fishes and bacon and whatever. I'm going to have to work. I'm going to have to take care of the kids. And you expect to be in charge? No, sir. That is not my ministry. That's not how we run my house, but y'all can run your houses however you want to. So this deadbeat who sometimes made money and sometimes didn't and just flitted all over the country, talk about his dreams. You know what I dreamed one time? I dreamed I was a mermaid. Does that make me an actual mermaid? No, I am as delightful and magical as a mermaid, but an actual mermaid? No, since mostly I can only doggy paddle. So that probably eliminates my mermaiddom. Anyway, I have gotten way off track. So he kills the wife and then he pushes her out of bed and then puts her back, pretends to cry and goes off and marries this other heifer. And Lori basically was like, what that got to do with me? That don't got nothing to do with me. Why you got my name in your mouth? Now, that is not what her lawyer said, but that is essentially what he meant the whole time. And apparently, this is what I'm hearing live from the courtroom because you know I know things. They have a monitor there. And when they showed the autopsy pictures of Tammy, Lori was staring at the picture. You know, she was happy. According to the psychic, which, you know, according to the psychic, she enjoys killing. Oh, okay. So now we just saying the quiet part out loud. Like, Lori enjoys killing. Duly noted. Yikes. Lori's lawyer was like, I object on the grounds that these pictures are prejudicial and that if y'all keep showing pictures of dead bodies, somebody's going to convict my client. And while I'm very comfortable with her going to prison for the rest of her life, I have to say these things for the record. Thank you. And I will sit down now. Now, that is not exactly what he said, but that is what I heard when he talked. He basically said, don't show no more dead bodies because they're going to send this heifer to jail. You keep showing these dead bodies. And the judge was like, yeah, overruled. Proceed. Somebody online asked how much longer this trial is going to go. And it is speculated that they will wrap up next week. Now, this was supposed to be like a 10-week trial, and they're wrapping it up in like, what, 3-4 weeks? You know why they're wrapping it up quickly? Because her attorney has nothing to say. What kind of defense is he going to put on? He's going to be like, she didn't do it, and no, she's not going to take the stand, and we don't have any evidence, and thank you, please don't fire by my house, the defense rests. I think that's how that's going to go. We're going to have to wait till next week and find out. In closing, Brandy Churchwell. Now listen. Miss Brandy Churchwell is now live streaming these playbacks, and it is everything. Do I still have to listen at accelerated speed? Why, yes, I do, because the playback is so slow. But Brandy and her partner, JT, child, they get on there and they provide full entertainment. Now, Brandy apparently is brand new to streaming, and she had this very modest goal for herself. She's a cancer survivor. She was on chemo and all this other stuff. And for the second night of her live stream, I think last night, was the second night of her live stream, she was like, if I could just get 2 subscriptions or 10 subscriptions by the end of the week, I'm going to be thrilled. Last night, they made to 200 subscriptions, and Miss Brandy could not stop crying. Y'all broke Brandy. Y'all broke her, and I am here for it. We love Brandy. Listen, Brandy, a nice Southern lady. I think she's from somewhere down there in the Carolinas because she has a big old Southern accent. And she's very young looking, like myself, although I am considerably older than her. If I lived in the South, I'm old enough to be her mama. But in regular society, not so much. Anyway, she's 40. I think she said she's 40, and she has a 20-year-old child. Her son brought her pizza. Oh my God, so sweet. Anyway, if you want to watch a live stream of this trial, as opposed to like my short little summaries or whatever, they actually have facts over there and pictures of things. We don't trouble ourselves with things like that. That just seemed cumbersome. Facts. Okay, whatever. That's not my ministry. Okay, y'all have a great Saturday. It's raining like crazy out here, but all the rain is making my garden nice, and it's made the forest behind my house really nice and lush and green. I'll show you a picture of the forest if you promise not to hide out in it and stalk me. We don't do nothing exciting around here, so you would be very bored stalking me. But I'm just saying, you know, as a safety note, please do not hide in the forest behind my house because I do know how to use a gun. Y'all have a nice day. Bye.